barbecue on. Get your barbecue on. Get your barbecue.
Welcome to the BBQ Therapy podcast. My name is Tavis Bryant of Yago Ham Barbecue. Have you ever stood around a smoker or a grill and felt the world fade away? Now that's barbecue therapy. Welcome to another therapy session. My name is Tavis Bryant, and on this episode of Barbecue Therapy, we're joined by one of the most dominant forces in competition barbecue today, Chris Schafer, Pitmaster of Heavy Smoke BBQ. Known for his precision, passion, and podium finishes, Chris has racked up countless grand championships and made a name for himself not only on the KCBS circuit, but also as a mentor and ambassador for the sport. We dive into his barbecue journey from backyard cook to elite level competitor and get his insights on staying consistent, building a winning team, and the mindset it takes to compete at the highest level. Whether you're a weekend warrior or gearing up for your first comp, we'll soak up every minute of this. Let's fire it up with Chris Schafer of Heavy Smoke. I got one rule: make yourself at home, speak freely, I have no sponsors, and have fun. And how you doing today?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. And I didn't read out your accomplishments because you can see behind you, as well as anybody that's listening, Google Heavy Smoke and look at the photos, and you can see the inside of the restaurant. So he's definitely a champion.
I get lucky from time to time.
You got a clover leaf in your back pocket. So what sparked your love for barbecue, and how did it evolve to competition cooking?
Honestly, dude, it's funny. I tell people this, and they're always surprised. I didn't eat barbecue growing up at all. From St. Louis, so my dad, he would grill up some pork steaks on the gas grill, but that was my extent of barbecue. And I started cooking in a restaurant when I was 15. So all through high school and college, I cooked in high-end restaurants. So I'm a better chef than I am a pitmaster, honestly. And dude, I was working at Sprint. I was a store manager for a Sprint store. The guy that worked for me, he's like, "Man, you cook, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You barbecue?" I was like, "Not really. Maybe grill some burgers, whatever." He's like, "I do competition barbecue. You should come hang out on one of these things." And I'm like, "All right, why not?" And so I go out there, and honestly, that was 2011, I think. I mean, it was just a drunk fest. Honestly, I think we drank like a. I used to drink. I don't anymore, but I think we drank like a handle of Sailor Jerry, and I was like, "This is the worst night of my life." We wake up the next day. He's like, "All right, you're cooking chicken." I'm like, "I'm doing what?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're cooking chicken." I'm like, "At the contest, I don't think I've cooked chicken thigh in my life, other than restaurant stuff." And so they walked me through it. First time out, and I think I got 38th out of like 42 teams, and I was just stoked I wasn't dead last. And he's like, "You want to be the chicken guy?" I was like, "All right, here we go." Literally, the first rib I ever had in my life was a competition rib. You know what I mean? We weren't going out eating ribs or nothing like that. I was a restaurant cook, and the guy asked me to get started, and I just fell in love with the competition aspect of it.
Wow. So after that, did you start practicing, or did you go into classes,
Dude,
or?
maniacal. Like when I want to do something, I do it, right? So that next year, I just took what he gave me, and I think we cooked 5 contests. And the best I got was like 11th place chicken. And after that year, I was like, never again. I'm not going to contests and not getting calls. It's just not happening. And so that winter, man, I didn't even have a number. I bet you I cooked 1,000 chicken thighs. I was cooking 6 to 12 thighs 3, 4 times a week, man. It was just at any given time, I'm just cooking thighs to the point that my whole family was, can you please stop cooking chicken? And the first contest we came out in, I guess 2013, we go to, and they called me first place chicken. And I remember a guy, they said Cole Sweet Heat. My buddy's name was Cole, and he had a sauce on the market. And the guy behind me goes, Cole Sweet, first place chicken, Cole Sweet Heat. And the guy behind me goes, "Who the fuck is that?" And I turned and I said, "Me." I said, "Me." And I walked up there and I get it. And that was St. Louis. So we cooked a little KCBS, and that was St. Louis Barbecue Society. We had just found St. Louis Barbecue Society. So the next contest we go to, first place chicken, Cole Sweet Heat. And people are like, what is going on? Next contest we go to, I think I got third or fourth. And then we cooked a KCBS, the Sam's Club Invitational in Lexington, Kentucky, and I rolled second place chicken. And so like Cole's a good dude, great cook. He's a mentor of mine, but he wasn't really getting calls. But I'm top 5 every week. So I think we cooked 6 contests that year, and I was top 5 in every one. For one contest, he had me cook ribs, and I got 8th. And he was cooking the other 3 essentially. And then the next year, we had a scheduling conflict. So I was working retail, and so it was hard for me to get out on Saturdays. And he never cooked on Sundays because he went to church. And we had a contest. It was a Saturday, Sunday. And I was like, "Man, Cole," I was like, "You mind if I go cook this contest?" And I borrowed his trailer, a couple of his drums. I took my drum, my Weber Smoky Mountain, And I asked my brother-in-law Jimmy and my buddy Danny to go with us or with me. And I was just gonna cook one contest. I had zero intention of starting my own team. And so I go out there. I got to come up with the team name, and I didn't plan on starting my own team. So I did as an ode to Cole. All the time, people would be like, "Hey Cole, how do you make such great barbecue?" And he'd always go, "Man, just salt, pepper, and heavy smoke." And so I literally signed up as salt, pepper, and heavy smoke. And before I sent that application, I'm like, "That's just too long, man." So I literally just drew a line through salt and pepper and submitted as heavy smoke. So there's 38 teams there. And we stayed up all night. My buddy Rob Honky used to be on the podcast, my podcast I used to have with me and stuff. We stayed up, drank with him all night, whatever. And so I think, like I said, like 38 teams. I got like fifth in chicken. And my brother-in-law, Jimmy, and my buddy Danny, they'd never been to a contest before, so they had no idea. So I walk and get that fifth place chicken. I'm like, man, that's pretty good. I'm like, yeah, that's really good. And I get second in ribs. And they're like, oh, dude, that's awesome. I'm like, yeah, it's great. And I get second in pork. And they're like, this is awesome. I'm like, yeah, stop talking to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, just leave me alone. And then I got fifth in brisket. We finished a reserve grand. And when I cooked with Cole, we'd never GC'd or RGC'd a contest. So the first contest I cooked as heavy smoke, I reserved. And then the St. Louis barbecue side takes your top 6 cooks. And so that year I cooked, I think, 3 contests with Cole, and I cooked 6 contests as heavy smoke, and I finished 7th for team of the year, only having six cooks. And I told Cole, I said, man, I got to do this thing. And so I went forward as heavy smoke, and I finished 2nd or 3rd for St. Louis team of the year for 4 straight years. I just couldn't get over that hump. And then in 2019, I guess 2018, I started cooking some KCBS as heavy smoke. I reserved one. And then 2019, we finished first for the St. Louis barbecue team of the year. We finished first overall, first in chicken, first in pork, first in brisket for the team of the year. Just had a breakout year. And then that same year, so in 2018, we got a reserve at Kennett, Missouri, which is a KCBS, and that got us in the KCBS Invitational. And so a lot of people don't know this story or even never put it together, but 2019, I go down to the first ever KCBS Invitational and I win it. And it's a world championship. But a lot of people don't realize that that was my first KCBS GC. My first KCBS GC was a world championship. And then, so that year I cooked 12. I cooked 12 SLBS and I think it was 17 KCBS. And I had 12 GCs and 5 RGCs. And I finished first for SLBS Team of the Year, and I finished 17th in the world for KCBS, only cooking like 17 contests. And that was when everybody was like, dude, who is this guy? And then 2020, I went straight KCBS, and I've been there ever since.
Wow. So what do you think your strongest category is, and which one took you the longest to dial in?
It changes. Chicken, I started in chicken. I've cooked more chicken than anybody else. I have more trophies on the wall for chicken than anything else. But it's changed, man. And like in 2019, I was just winning brisket all the time. Like people are like, dude, what are you doing in brisket? But so it goes back and forth. And I think it's 2020 and 2021, I tied for pork team of the year. And the next year, I think I was 3rd for pork team of the year. So pork was hitting. And then last year, I guess it was, I couldn't cook all year because my GM at the restaurant was pregnant. So she took off a couple months midsummer. And I was leading rib team of the year by like 400 points when I had to stop cooking. I still finished 4th in the world in ribs, and I didn't cook the last 3 months. So
Wow.
right now I'd say it's ribs.
So you racked up a lot of good wins. What's your mindset going to a competition weekend? Are you just loose, or you be dialed in serious, or?
And I'm just there to cook and turn in good food. I've done it so long. I've done it so long that I know that like it's up to the judges. I just got to do my job, man. I just got to put in 4 good categories and hope you get good tables. And that's it, man. I'm just putting in 4 good categories.
So what do most new teams get wrong about cooking for judges, that you think?
They literally don't understand what we're doing. Like, yeah, you hear guys go, oh man, I got beat up in chicken and I think I'm going to tighten it up a little bit this week. And then they get a call and they're like, all right, so they want it tight. And then the next week they're 18th in the chicken. They're like, oh man, I thought they wanted tight chicken. And then they're constantly chasing their tails. They don't understand that you have different judges every week. You have different parts of the country. Even if you had the exact same 24 judges at a contest, you could go 4 contests in a row and not see the same judges because there's different tables. You know what I'm saying? They legit don't understand what we're doing. And so, like on any given day, there is a perfect tenderness on chicken. On any given day, there's a perfect tenderness that those judges want. And guess what? We don't know what it is. Like they might want tight that day. They might want loose that day. They might want it soft. They might want it overcooked. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So all we can do is just run our stuff, put it in, and hope it hits, right? So like people are like, oh, I take chicken thighs at 205. Why? Why? Can you explain to me why you take it to 205 or 208 or 211? I cook it. I cook the timeline. At 11:15, I take chicken off the smoker. I don't know if it's 205, 208, 211. I just cook it that time and I take it off. And I win chicken a lot. You know what I'm saying? If I probe it, it's to make sure that the skin is very soft and the actual texture of the meat feels right. I'm not looking for a number. I don't care.
Yeah, that's definitely true because I judge for GBA, and in the tent, it'd be young people, it'd be old people, and all of them don't, their taste buds are different. So you can't determine who gonna what.
Yeah, like they new cooks, they pay attention to all the wrong things. One of my best friends in barbecue is Brett Leininger, and he's legitimately the best cook to ever do competition barbecue. You should watch that guy cook, man. You watch him cook, and you're like, is this his first day? He's just going through the motions, man. He's just doing his thing, and if it needs salt, he adds salt, whatever. He's going on color. He's not following a timeline. He's not checking his hit on gateways. He's not checking the temp. He sets them and forgets them. And you see new cooks over there just making a small adjustment, open it up, close it up. Dude, just let the pits run, cook your food. We're just cooking food. And they pay attention to all the small things. I was talking to a buddy of mine. He was saying like, "Oh, my chicken got a little spicy. I think I measured the rubs wrong, and I was really focused on how to like make sure I measured it exactly right. And I think I fixed the spicy." And I'm like, "Why don't you just add a little sweet? You know what I mean? If you taste it's a little spicy, why don't you just cut the spicy out?" And he's, "Oh, I never thought of that. Let's just pay attention to the wrong things." I took a class one time, and the guy was measuring the rubs to the gram, and I just raised my hand. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm never doing that." You watch me in my class making sauce, and I'd be like, "I need some of this. Need some of this. All right, it's done." Like I can give you a recipe, but I'm not measuring anything.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and I'm a witness to that. So, what made you decide to open a restaurant?
So I cooked all through high school and college, and the guy I cooked with back then, Chad, he's my business partner now. He's like my best friend of like 25 years, and I was competing, and he's a chef. And he was just sick of the restaurant industry. He was working at a place that was like, "Hey, why don't you like smoke all the ribs on Sunday and then microwave them through the week?" Like they were just crushing his soul. And he's like, "I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna go drive a truck or something." And I was like, "Dude, why don't we just open a food truck?" And he's, "I don't know, man." And he's, "That's fun, but I'm not real sure if we can afford it." I was like, "I'll open it. Like I'll open the food truck because I had a day job." And I was like, "I'll open the food truck. I'll run the business. I'll book the jobs, and you just run the food truck." And so I literally opened the food truck to keep him in the industry because he's the best chef I've ever seen in my life. And so we did that kind of just for him. And then in 2020, COVID was killing the food truck, and I lost my job due to COVID. I never wanted to leave a good job to start a restaurant. And so it was like, all right, I don't have a job. So I interviewed for jobs for a couple months. I'm just, man, I just don't want to fucking do it. I just don't. So I was like, let's open a restaurant. He's in the middle of a pandemic. I'm like, let's do it, man. So middle of 2020, we found a place. We signed a lease and opened a restaurant. Here we are 4.5 years later.
Wow. What's the number one thing that you're proud of on the menu and one that surprises people?
I'm proud of, man, I'd probably say burnt ends just because it's our number one seller every month. And people come in all the time like, best burnt ends I had in my life. And I've traveled the whole country. It's the best burnt ends I ever had. And most places, oh man, every place in St. Louis, the burnt ends suck. It's the only place we come for burnt ends, right? I personally, like, I like them. I don't think it's like the best thing on our menu, but like everybody goes crazy over it. That's like our biggest thing. And then my favorite thing on the menu, we have a pork cake. So my favorite thing to eat is crab cakes. I love crab cakes. And so I told my partner, I was like, I want a barbecue crab cake. And so he came up with this pork cake. We literally never even made one. Like he came up with what the recipe would be. We put it on the menu, everything. Like the day of our soft launch, I'm like, "You think we should make one of these things, see if they're any good?" And he's like, "Oh, I guess so." And so the day of our soft launch, we cooked one. I was like, Jesus, this is amazing. So we take pulled pork, cream cheese, cheddar cheese, and chives, green onions, I guess. And we make a patty. We bread it in panko breadcrumbs. We deep fry it and serve it with coleslaw and barbecue sauce on top. And dude, it's my favorite thing on the menu. It's incredible.
Wow. And how do you bring championship level flavor to the daily menu?
Man, I just one of those things. We use our rubs. I got 2 rubs on the market, so we use our own rubs, and we try to finish strong. There you go. Get them out there. We try to like our finish rubs our ribs, for example. Like when we serve our ribs, like we're gonna hit the back of them with a finish rub. We're gonna hit the top of them with a glaze and more finish rub. We're just trying to finish things in the restaurant similar to how you would at the competition. Now, we all know you can't cook for a restaurant the way you do in a competition. Nobody would be able to afford the prices. My cooks would probably all quit, but just try to use high quality meat, cook it right, and try to finish it at the end. And it's as close. I think it's as close as you can get without being accomplished barbecue.
Okay. And are you a stickler for tradition, or do you like pushing the barbecue boundaries?
And I don't give a shit about tradition. I just like to cook. I just cook good barbecue. I'm not going to beat my head against the wall on a stick burner because I think that's what is tradition. I don't care. I like drums. I like hot and fast. I just like good food.
How did you decide to come up with your own rubs? Because I call them racial harmony, the black label, white label.
Hey man, we're just bringing them together. Honestly, man, when I started the food truck, we were like buying rubs and mixing rubs and trying to just trying to figure out what we wanted to do for the food truck. And the cost was eating us alive. And me and my partner are like, man, I think we can just make a rub. It's not that hard. It's the same combination of stuff. No matter, everyone's doing the same thing. It's like all the same stuff and just different ratios. And so we made the rubs for the restaurant, or I mean for the food truck. We're like, man, these are really good. And so we're making them up in big batches, and they're inconsistent and stuff. And so I was like, I'm gonna take it to a co-packer and see if they can make it. And so we went to McCarthy in St. Louis and started just getting the rubs in 25-pound boxes. And then I was like, man, I'm gonna start playing with these things. And that it going into 2018 or out of 2018, we had them manufactured essentially in bulk, and I started practicing with them that winter, and I was putting them on three of the categories. I didn't get white label on chicken until a little bit later because I was winning chicken like crazy. I didn't want to mess with it, but I was using my rubs on the other three meats. And then literally the first time I used those rubs in a competition was the KCBS Invitational in 2019. So the first time I used those rubs, we won a world championship. But on the way home, I called my partner. I'm like, man, we got to put these in a bottle. And we did.
Wow. So how do you juggle the demands of running a restaurant with competing at a high level?
Terrible. I do it terribly. I'm awful. Dude, it's a lot, man. And I'm not competing a lot right now. My schedule's real busy. I'm focusing a lot on my family and the restaurant and things like that. So I'm not out there competing a lot. So people don't see me out. They're probably like, what happened to Chris? But man, I just got some other stuff to focus on. And people don't realize what it takes to make a team of the year run. You're going to cook 40, 45 contests. You're going to be gone a lot. It's very hard to do. It's kind of like last year. I was going to make a team of the year run. I started hot. I started in November. I was cooking Mississippi. I cooked California. I won a contest in Alabama, and I came out real hot. In February, my GM said she was pregnant, and she was due at the beginning of August, and she was taking 2 months. So right then, that killed my team of the year run. And everybody's like, "Oh no, you're chasing, you're chasing." I was like, "I'm not. I'm just cooking a lot now because I can't later." She went on like bed rest like middle of July, and I disappeared off the face of the earth. And I think I cooked two contest rests that year. And everyone's, "What are you doing? Why aren't you chasing?" I was like, "I told you 6 months ago I wasn't chasing." So like the rest is always restaurant first and family first. But if I can get out there, I'm gonna cook as much as I can.
That's definitely true because that's why I haven't even started because I went and they had a bundle for the Gateway drum on Gateway website and I bought it and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get ready to compete. Next thing, wife pregnant, and right now the drum's still sitting brand new in the corner over
If you want to sell it, I'll buy it cheap.
there. I'm gonna get some use out of it eventually. What's one hard lesson?
Dude,
Go ahead.
you got a legit baby, man. It is hard and impossible, and I would even tell you just don't do it. From a guy that's competed so hard for so long. My daughter's 11, and I've been doing this for 13 years. Don't miss that time, man. There'll always be contests, and your daughter's only going to be a year old once. So I wouldn't even try to go to a contest at this point, man. If you take her and walk around and meet some guys, that's fine, but don't go try to get beat up by 40 of your friends.
Oh no, 'cause diapers and formula are expensive. I'm not playing with
Oh
it
yeah,
right now.
one brisket buy a lot of diapers.
Exactly. My wife ain't gonna kill me. So, what's one hard lesson that you learned through the business side of barbecue?
Man, I learned a lot of lessons. I come from business. I have a degree in accounting. I've been in sales and management, whatever. So it's like you think you understand. You start running a restaurant, man, it's a whole different ballgame. And one hard lesson. I don't know. I would say get thin in the wintertime when it's slow and you hate taking hours from people, you hate laying people off or getting rid of people. But man, if you can't get through January and February, then no one has a job in March. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I had to learn is like this winter, I was working front of house multiple shifts a week, working pits, like just trying to save labor because it gets so slow in January and February, man. If you don't, like I said, if you don't get to March, you ain't moving forward.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And for everybody that don't know, I went to his class. That's how I met Chris, and one of the best classes that I've been to. And
Appreciate that.
oh, definitely. So if anybody that cooks on all drums, definitely go check his class out. Because I went to Myron's, I went to Robbie Royals, I went to Joe Pierce, I went to Luke Darnell's, and then I went to yours. How I ran across yours is somebody suggested you need to go to Chris Schafer's class. It's a guy named Chad Whittington. He cooks
Yeah.
for Hog Addiction, and he had told me about your class. So when I saw it come out, I was one of I hurry up, got a spot in there based on what he said, and definitely hands down one of the best classes, one of the simple to catch on to, and full of information, full of friendly people and stuff like that. I want to I appreciate you for just holding the class and teaching us what you know, because you don't have to do that. You're doing it because you want to help people, not as far as I need a money grab. So I definitely appreciate that.
And that's why I keep my price low. People raise prices over the years, and hey, obviously it's great money. You'd be lying if you said it wasn't. But I don't want to price people out, man. I want the new guy in there. I want the backyard guy. And if I go to 800 or 1,000 bucks, a lot of those guys aren't coming. So I try to keep the price I've always done, and I make enough, if that makes sense. Also, I need you to say that it is the best class you've ever had, so that I can send this to Joe and be like, hey, take that.
His class was the best class that I've been
Yes.
to.
I'm just gonna snip that and send it to Joe
uh,
and Luke probably.
the thing about Joe class, Blue Springs, Missouri, is like country town. Somebody had
Yeah.
to somebody had to drive 30 minutes in an Uber to come get me to take me 3 minutes around the corner. So I was like trapped out there. But hey, the class was
I'll
good
tell you
though.
this much, dude. Joe's one of my best friends in barbecue, man, and God, he's a hell of a cook. He's a hell of a cook, and his class is awesome too.
Yeah, his class was good, but his restaurant food was good, but the doggone prime rib boy and the breakfast pizza. So
Dude, everybody loves that breakfast pizza, man. I used to do kolaches, and then one class, man, I ran out of time or something. I forgot to order kolaches, and I had my buddy Brian meet me in St. Louis. He helps in all my classes, and he just won a world championship. If anybody's seen that,
yeah,
but yeah, I was like, man, you just pick up some Casey's breakfast pizza for me, and everyone's, dude, where'd you get this pizza from? I was like, it was like a quarter of the price over kolaches. I'm like, I guess we're running Casey's pizza from now on.
yeah. You see him, tell him I'm coming for him too to be on the show. So definitely.
I'll connect you guys.
All right. What inspired you to start teaching classes, and how has that journey evolved over the years?
Honestly, man, it was just people asking. In 2019, I did my first class. So I won the KCBS Invitational in 19, and I won St. Louis Team of the Year, and I won 7 KCBS contests that year. And I didn't feel like I was ready to have a class. I didn't feel like I was good enough to have a class. And Brad and Tim and these guys having classes, and they've won everything. But I'm like, who's going to come to my class? This is stupid. But I had people asking. So St. Louis guys like, man, let's just do a class. I just did one class, and I was going to cap it at 30 people. And I had I had 30 people sign up in 2 weeks, and I cut it off, and people are begging me to get in. They're like, I'll stand in the back. I'll stand in the back. I think I did 37 or 38 people that class. And I was like, man, I guess I could do classes from here going forward. And then it made it easier. But what I did after that class, it was too much. So now I cap my classes at 25. I like to keep a small class, and I don't mind running a 20-person class. If I'm at 20 people and I'm a few weeks out, I'll shut it down and I'll keep it at 20 people. It's better. I get to teach more. I get to interact with people. I get to know people better. It's just easier, man. The smaller class is easier.
Yeah, yeah. And when you think about your role as a mentor, what is your do you hope that your students take away from the class beyond just cooking techniques?
Man, I just want to be better. I want to be better than when they came. And they have different goals and different skill levels when they take my class. So a guy like you, who you're just learning, you've taken 5 classes, but you haven't went and got out and do it yet, right?
Mm-mm.
I want you to go to your first contest, and I want you to get a call, get 2 calls, and I want you to call me and be like, dude, I ran your rib recipe and I got 8th. You know what I mean? That's what I want. But there's guys out there that are crushing barbecue. They come take my class, and if they leave with one thing, they're like, man, this one thing is going to change this for me. I'm good with that.
Exactly. And what's one moment from a class or a mentoring experience that stuck with you? Maybe that you helped somebody take it to the next level.
Man, so this is such a cool story. I talk too much. You're gonna be like, you shut up.
Oh, fine.
A guy named Jason Waters with Q Moon Barbecue. He signed up for my class, sent me a message, and we were talking. And he's become a really good friend of mine, but he was cooking like kind of local stuff, like non-sanctioned stuff, and he just wasn't cooking. He wasn't cooking a lot of big comps, but he was cooking a decent amount. And he was telling me he'd never got a rib call, never got a rib call in his life. He couldn't figure it out, and never won a contest, obviously, whatever. And so he texted me, and he sent me the biggest text anybody's ever sent me, and it was so emotional and so nice. But he said that he had won ribs at this contest after taking my class. He won ribs and GC'd the contest, so it was his first rib call, I believe, which is the first place, and he GC'd the contest. And he was just so thankful, so appreciative for my class and my friendship and mentorship, whatever. And the crazy thing is, the day he sent me that text was the same day that I'd won my second world championship. And I remember like walking around bragging to people that he had won ribs and won that contest, not that I'd won a world championship. Like I was more stoked for him than I was for me. And then fast forward a year, I win the Jack. And then that following winter, there's a Clinton County Barbecue Society in St. Louis, and a good friend of mine, Buck Hockey, started that. And they wanted me to come MC their awards. And so I got to go and MC their awards. And it was cool because while doing the awards, I got to tell that story in front of the whole Clinton County, the whole award ceremony, whatever. And I told that story to announce that Jason Waters had won the Clinton County Team of the Year. And it was cool to tell the story that like this guy took my class, he won his first contest, and now he's your Team of the Year. And so it was really cool to see that guy grow. And now he's out running around St. Louis getting calls. He just reserved a contest a couple weeks ago, and the kid's killing it. I say kid, I think he's older than I am, but he's killing it.
Yeah, yeah. So you coach a lot of up and comers, and like I said, High on the Hog was one of the teams at the class with us, and they have a high respect for you, just like I do, because I took your class. For those that don't know, he sponsors High on the Hog, which is a brand new team. Could you give us an explanation of why you decided to sponsor them?
Yeah, so I'll back it up. When I first started Rubs, I put like an application out for sponsorship, and I don't remember how many people applied, 80, 90, 100, something like that. I get tons of people that applied for it. And I went through all their information, and I picked teams to sponsor on that. And it was like, and half the teams I picked weren't even using my rubs. And I didn't even realize that. It's like they started using my rubs after I sponsored them. And the next year I was like, this is dumb. It's honestly dumb for me to put this application out there. It's so I decided I was just going to align with people that I have the same values with and the same like type of people. It's like some of my best friends in barbecue, rooters and tutors. They're like, I would say top 5 best cooks in the country pretty much every year. You know what I mean? And I called them. I was like, hey, you guys use my rubs, right? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, you want to be a sponsor team? They're like, yep. And I called Chris Webb with Bushwood or Bushmaster. Hey, you use my stuff, right? Yep. You want to be a sponsor team? Yep. Janky Leg. There's just guys like that. They're incredible cooks, but they're the same type of people that I am, same values, good people, and they use my stuff. And so when Sean and Rich with High on the Hog, they took my class, they were using my stuff, and they were just like me. I was talking to somebody that I'd known my whole life, which is funny. I can tell that story if you want. But so I was like, you guys want me to sponsor you? And they're like, are you serious? We haven't even cooked a contest. I'm like, that's cool, man. Like, I got your back. I'll get you guys some rubs, and we'll go win together. Which I told you before we started. It turns out me and Sean were talking. We same age. We went to rival high schools, and we played football on opposite sides of the ball. And he was a DN, and I was the tackle. And we were probably beating each other up 22 years ago too. So it's kind of come full circle.
Yeah, definitely. It's just hilarious. But who were some of your mentors coming up in the barbecue game, and how they shaped your teaching style and cooking style?
My biggest mentor, and it's not even close, is Brad Leininger. I took Brad and Tim's class in 2015, and then I went back and took it again in 2018. The 3-year difference of taking that class was me as a cook. Their class didn't change a lot, but the first time I went, it was like, all right, I want to learn how to cook on drums properly. And so I went and learned how to cook hot and fast. When I went back, it was like, all right, how do you finish a product, how tenderness, things like that. So it was like 2 different classes for me because I was a better cook, if that makes sense. Brad, Tim, obviously Cole Hardy got me started in the beginning. Rob Honky, he doesn't cook a lot anymore, but there's just some of these guys, man, that kind of take me under the wing. And I became really good friends with Joe Pierce, and so he helped me a lot. I remember a conversation I had with him before the Jack. I had a rough summer, man. I couldn't win a comp to save my life, and I remember Joe being like, "Dude, you know how to cook? You obviously not a win. He's like, you just got to figure it out. He's like, if you're a little soft in chicken, go a little further. If you're a little tight in the ribs, go a little further or whatever. He's like, just make a small adjustment somewhere. And then the next week I won the jack. A lot of those guys, man, they helped a lot.
Yeah, that's good to hear because a lot of people see people fail and they can sit there and tell them something to help them out, but they'll sit there and hold it to themselves and watch somebody fail when they can help them. Because it all comes down to most of the recipes that people do are the same. It just comes down to knowing how to cook it. So you still got to out cook the person. You can give them like I got your recipe, but I still got to out cook you, and
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to. So it's the gatekeeping and holding the secrets and watching people fail, and that causes people to give up on competing and less people compete and stuff like that instead of boosting the sport up and bringing more people in. It deters people because eventually they're gonna get frustrated and bow out.
And you have, me doing classes, man, I hate to say it, but majority of the people come for your recipes. And I give a packet out with all my recipes and my timelines and everything, mostly so you can pay attention to the cook. A lot of people don't do that, man. You hand them that packet and they're out. They'll watch, they'll pay attention, but they don't. Once they have that packet, they don't care anymore. And then at the very end, like the most important part of the class, I'm going back and forth to pits, checking tenderness, pulling stuff. And if there's 25 people in the class, I'll have 5, maybe 8 of them follow me to pits every single time. The rest of them are inside bullshitting and drinking beer. And you're like, all right, man, like you paid for it. Do this how you want. But like I can always tell the people that are going to be a problem. I remember my first class ever. So there's like 38 people in it. And you always, I think I even told you this in the class, like there's always 1 or 2 people in a class and you're like, that guy's going to be a problem one day. Like they ask all the right questions. They're paying attention. You could tell. And I remember my very first class, there's a guy, I didn't know him, in the back of the class. And he's just literally the back of the class. He just asked questions. I'm like, ooh, this guy gets it. You know what I mean? And now that he asked something else, I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's paying attention. And that's Jordan Kirkpatrick. And you're like, wow, he's
Yeah.
one of the best cooks in the world right now. But in 2019, he was sitting there taking my class, asking all the right questions.
Yeah, I met him at a Memphis and May, but yeah, he's he's on point. But yeah, that's how I am. I'm gonna sit back, watch. I'm not gonna waste that type of money just to be shooting the breeze. So I'm gonna be watching. That's why I like that you gave. I was talking to Christy Vanover about that, but she said if somebody want to give you a recipe, regardless if it's on a paper or not, they're gonna give it away. But the thing is, I'd rather have it on a piece of paper so I can focus on what you're doing. Because if I'm writing something down, I'm missing what you're doing at the moment, and that's gonna throw off the whole cook or the purpose of me coming out there. It's pretty much like taking a chance, but I'd rather have the information on the paper so I can focus on what you're doing versus
Yep.
I'm not gonna give you a paper. You're gonna have to write everything down in your own words, but I can easily still just give it to somebody. But I'd rather focus on what the person's doing. So that's the
Yep.
purpose of me coming
What
out to the class.
when I first started doing classes, I had this mentality of when I went to college, the instructor didn't hand me the notes. Like I had to write my stuff. And then I don't know when I started doing the packets, but it was like I'd be in a class and somebody like, hey, what's your finish rub? And I'm like, oh, it's white label and this. And then 2 minutes later, somebody like, hey, what was that finish rub? I'm like, oh, it's white label and this. Oh, it's white label and this. By the 10th time, I'm like, dude, it's white label. You know what I mean? And then, and I guarantee you heard in the class. Now people be like, hey, what was that finish rub? And other students would be like, it's in the packet. And be like, hey, what was that sauce? It's in the packet. Other students would be like, it's in the packet. Shut up. And so it made it so much easier. And then, like you said, you're not taking notes, man. Every note you take is maybe how I'm trimming, how I'm injecting, how I'm finishing, things like that.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And then you got different types. You got one person that's a know-it-all in the class that try to over talk the teacher. You got other people shooting the breeze. You got some people paying attention. And it's just different types that every class you go in is those certain people within the class. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you not teaching the class if you know everything? You asking
Yeah.
questions.
The difference is, I like, you know me, man. Like, I'm a super nice guy, but I'm also an asshole. It's so like when people are doing that, I'll be like, hey, man, you want to teach this class? Or, hey, I asked a guy one time, I go, do you only ask questions that you know the answer to? And he was like, what? And I was like, man, every question you ask, you then want to answer after I answer it. And he's like, oh, it was just like everyone paid here to listen to me. Nobody's here to listen to you.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna give you a question, and if I gave you an all-star team of 4 people, including yourself, of to cook a competition, what other three people would you pick? It's not like a Mount Rushmore, but it's more each meat. Who would you have cooked, dead or alive?
Oh, dude, am I picking what categories they're cooking or
Yeah,
just the four guys?
yeah, category.
All right, I'll take chicken. I'm gonna give Brad Leininger ribs, and I'm gonna give Tim Shear pork, and I'm gonna give Travis Clark brisket.
Wow, that was quick. Okay, okay.
Those three, dude. There's like Darren Worth was a great friend of mine. He's the GOAT. He's won a lot of big things. He's one of the best ever. My thing is that the time I came up, if that makes sense, like when I was really getting into it, was after Darren, and so I don't include him in things like that, even though he's one of the best of all time, if that makes sense. But when I started, it was like Brad's here, Tim's here, Travis is here. Those were the three that you're like, got to get around those guys, man. And I think I don't know. Honestly, if I'm making that list, I don't know if I put me as one of the four. You know what I'm saying?
Supervisor.
Yeah, man. Honestly, if I'm making that list, I'd probably sit out and put Tim Grant in there as the fourth guy, man. There's just, man, some of those guys just monsters.
Yeah, when I was talking to Tim Shear, I was like, you don't know it, but you're pretty much like the Steph Curry of barbecue because you changed the whole game with them drums, and you don't even know that. But
Yeah, Tim has the ability to finish. He's turning 170s and 175s and 175s and 180s on the cutting board. And a lot of guys can't do that. And it's just one of those skills that not a lot of guys possess. His pallet's insane and he can finish. Like if I'm picking one guy, if you have a gun to my head and they're like, hey, you pick a guy to win a contest or we're going to shoot you, it's Brad. Like it's always Brad. And if I pick one guy that it's all right, we're going to piss him off, put a chip on his shoulder and see if he can win team of the year, Brad or Travis. When Travis 15, 16, 17, 18, when those years where he was wanting to run, God, the guy was insane. And then, do you know who Tim Grant is?
mm, what's the team name?
True Bud.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Dude, go look up True Bud in 2011, 2012, 2013. God, that guy just kill it, man.
Wow. It's a good team you put together. All right.
Yeah, I'm doing dishes. I'm doing dishes on that team.
But the thing is, if you can quickly take your camera and pan across the wall so everybody know how big that statement is that you made.
If you want,
Yeah.
you said I was peacocking a little bit, but
Yeah, go ahead. Now, this is the person said he'll be washing dishes.
the check's over there. But
So what I did is I constructed a game. You know how the college basketball tournament has a bracket. So I constructed a bracket of 16 meats that you cook on the grill, and you just tell me which one you prefer to eat, and we'll see which one wins. First
all right,
matchup is lamb versus brisket.
brisket. Not a huge lamb fan.
All right. Next matchup, smoked ham versus sausage.
Sausage,
All right. Smoked turkey versus beef ribs.
turkey,
Wow. Barbecue shrimp versus hamburger.
ah, that's tough. I'm gonna say hamburger, but I like shrimp.
Okay. Pork chops versus smoked chicken.
Yeah, we'll go pork chops.
All right. Smoked bologna versus pork ribs.
Oh, bologna. Bologna's gonna win this thing. FYI, bologna,
All right. Next matchup is hot dog versus pork belly.
pork belly.
All
I like a hot dog though. My dad is a hot dog roller for the trailer. Like literally, my dad is a hot dog roller that we just roll dogs while we're competing.
right. Oh yeah. Shout out to your dad. Great
Yeah,
guy. Very
my dad Eddie.
underrated.
Everyone calls him Pops, man. He's about the best guy in barbecue.
Definitely, definitely, and he's very underrated. People don't know that he's in there getting his hands dirty. So definitely shout out to
But
him.
he works so hard. Did you even notice that while I was finishing boxes, like you go outside and everything was cleaned up, all the pits strapped back to the trailer? Man, dude, nobody works harder than my dad.
Yeah, exactly. So big shout out to him. Next matchup, steak versus burnt ends.
Steak,
All right, next round, brisket versus sausage.
sausage,
All right, turkey versus hamburger.
Turkey.
All right.
I love smoked turkey.
Pork chop versus bologna.
Bologna.
All right, pork belly.
You know where this is going.
Pork belly versus steak.
Steak.
All right, final four: sausage versus turkey.
Sausage.
Okay, and bologna versus steak.
Bologna.
All right, and sausage versus bologna, and the winner.
Just put it in. Bologna. Dude, I love smoked bologna. I love it, man.
Surprisingly, you're not the only one. Harry Sue picked bologna too. So
I'm in good company. So we have Cordy Meats out of Highland, Illinois. A lot of people know those guys. They make our sausage for the restaurant. It's a jalapeno cheddar sausage. And they took that same recipe and made bologna. And dude, the bologna is incredible. And we've tried to run specials multiple times and nobody will buy it. I don't know if it's like we're too bougie in this area or something, but dude, that smoked bologna, man. I guarantee you, I cook you 5 pounds of it. You're gonna have a hard time not just making yourself sick on it.
I look forward to trying it. All right, I got one more tournament. This one is the 16 greatest athletes of all time.
Oh, love it.
All right, first matchup is Tom Brady versus Lionel Messi.
I don't like the guy. Give me Brady.
What's your football team?
I'm a Cowboys fan.
I'm a Broncos fan based on the colors you see here.
Yeah.
All right, next matchup, Michael Jordan versus Dale Earnhardt.
Jordan.
All right. Usain Bolt versus Serena Williams.
God, that's a tough one. Give me Bolt.
Okay.
He's a monster, man.
Exactly. Next matchup, Michael Phelps versus LeBron.
Phelps.
All right. Next matchup, Ken Griffey Jr. versus Simone Biles.
Biles.
All right. Tiger Woods.
If I give my opinion, I'll piss some people off on this. Like, you put Phelps against LeBron. LeBron's not even the best in his sport. So how's he going to beat Phelps?
Yes, I agree.
Hey, you could do a Sweet 16 of basketball players, and I don't think LeBron makes it that far.
Exactly. In my personal opinion, I would take Larry Bird over LeBron James. It is what it is. You can say what you want. That's just me.
Dude, I think the funnest guy to watch, Jordan is a monster, but dude, I love watching Kobe play basketball. And I love Shaq. You know what I mean? Just a dominating force, man. I feel like there was nobody like Shaq, and there will never be anybody like Shaq. You know?
That is true. That is true. I love Shaq. And
he's hilarious.
he's smarter than everybody in the room. Pronouncing words wrong. That's hilarious.
You know, I want probably like a couple times a year I'll go look up that video where he's talking about commentators not knowing anything about basketball or whatever, and he goes, I'm not going to say any names. And then he pauses and goes, Skip Bayless. Gosh, I laugh every time.
Exactly. Thinking he's the smartest person in the room. Skip Bayless is on another level. All right, we got Tiger Woods versus Kobe Bryant.
You gotta go Tiger, but I love Kobe.
Cristiano Ronaldo versus Wayne Gretzky.
Gretzky.
All right. Roger Federer, Muhammad Ali.
Oh. Man, that's tough. Give me Federer.
Okay. Next round, Brady versus Jordan.
Jordan.
I was already writing it. Usain Bolt versus Michael Phelps.
Phelps.
Simone Biles versus Tiger Woods.
Tiger.
Wayne Gretzky, Roger Federer.
Gretzky.
All right, final four, Jordan versus Phelps.
Jordan.
And Tiger versus Gretzky.
Dude, that's tough. That could be the final. Give me Gretzky.
Oh, wow.
Dude, there's nobody like Gretzky, man.
Yeah, he is a great one.
Nobody like Tiger. Nobody like Tiger, but there's nobody like Gretzky.
All right, in the finals, we got Jordan versus Gretzky.
Jordan.
Of course, correct answer. All right, Mr. Schafer, your therapy session is over. You got anything to promote or give any shout outs or
Man, I don't carry a lot of sponsors. I just promote my friends. Cordy Meat Processing out of Highland, Illinois. They ship meat all over the country. Really good guys. They take care of me. Big Papa Smoker, Sterling Ball, been a mentor to me, great guy. Blues Hog has been pivotal. And then Brad Leininger getting based at his show sauce he came out with last year, man. Like, that is, dude, I just went to the KCS Invitational. I ran show sauce on ribs for the first time and won first place ribs at the Invitational. So a rib world champion with show sauce and white label combination. And man, it's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I want to try to get Brad. I know he's rolling this year. He reeled off, what, 10 wins already?
He's on a mission, man.
Exactly.
What's funny is he's on a mission, but he's at Disney right now. So, like, he's on a mission, but he literally recorded Barbecue Brawl. He's been to France. He's been to Mexico. Like, he's in Disney. So, like, he's rolling. But, dude, that guy, he's just busy at life.
Yeah, so I'm not going to bother him until further on in the year when it gets slow.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I reached out to Cordy, too.
Yeah. Did they get back to you?
They said he going to get with his people and get back with me because I met him at Memphis in May because I want all aspects of barbecue, and that's a very important part of barbecue. So I definitely want to get them on also.
Yeah, you should get some reps on too. So like some KCBS reps or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna reach out to the different associations also and let them speak and tell us more about it because it's a lot of people don't know. You'd be surprised. A lot of people don't know competitions even exist. And you have to sit there and explain what a barbecue what's that on your shirt? That's my competition name and all this stuff. And competition, you have to get out there and explain what a competition is. It's wild.
It's also dumb. It's like the hardest thing to explain. You're like, yeah, it's just a bunch of 40 to 50-year-old fat guys in a parking lot burning meat for strangers. And they're like, that sounds awful. You're like, yeah. And you're definitely going to lose money. Like, even the guy that wins the contest is probably going to lose money. And they're like, why do you do it? And you're like, I don't know.
Exactly. And we're paying to feed people to judge us.
And a lot of times, I'm not a guy that bashes judges, but a lot of times you spend a ton of money to turn it in, and those judges are like leaving you comment cards that just have you scratching your head. And you're like, why are we doing this? But we're back every weekend.
What's the wildest comment you had on the comment card?
Man, I got so many of them, man. I had this early on, I got a brisket comment card that said, tastes like bouillon cubes. I was like, dude, I didn't know bouillon cubes existed anywhere in my mom's pantry. I thought they were like expired and my mom just still had them or something. And then the problem is people get mad at comment cards, but I can dissect it and figure out what that means. That guy said he meant it was salty. Yeah, it was dumb. He wrote bouillon cubes, but it means it was salty. And I got one time on ribs. It literally said like perfect tenderness, perfect bite, perfect smoke, perfect flavor. And they gave me a 989. I'm like, dude, you used the word perfect 4 times and then didn't give me a perfect score. And then I got a perfect score in chicken one time and a comment card that said pretty good. I was like, okay, cool. Pretty good. Perfect. All right, I'll take it.
I'm not gonna lie, some of the judges, this is just my personal opinion. Some of them think they're like, I don't know. It's like some things that you know that's gonna score, but some things are just kind of personal opinion and taste. But they're acting like they hold power and control over somebody that it's like you're a master judge because you got more free time than a lot of other people to go judge these things, not because you're the expert, have the expert taste buds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because if you
and honestly, man, the worst judges in the world are cooks. Like, they think their food's the best and they are going to judge like crazy. I was in a contest a few years ago where the organizer, I don't know what happened. He just didn't get any judges. And so they had the backyard teams cook. They cooked like the day before. They asked the backyard teams to stay and judge the pro. And it was hands down the lowest scores I'd ever seen in my life. I think like a 672 won that contest because those backyard guys are like, my food's better than this. And they just hammered everybody.
Wow. That doesn't make sense. Because
what I want to do, I've said for years, I think it would be awesome if you could do like hour between turn-ins and get like 12 teams, let's say. And then we all cook turn-in chicken, and then we go through the back door and we sit down at the tables and they mix up the boxes, whatever. And then we all literally judge our own food. And so us 12 cooks judge our chicken. And then we go back out, we do our rib box and turn it, we do it for all 4. or maybe you do 24 teams so you can have 4 tables to make sure that you're not getting your food multiple times. But dude, I think it'd be awesome to like literally the guys on the parking lot that are cooking come in and judge and see how the scores shake out.
Not a bad idea. Y'all will be full by the time y'all leave, but
Dude, I would get dead last and be like, I gave myself a 7. He's so pissed.
Well, definitely thank you for coming on, and I appreciate it. Like I said, your class was the best one that I've been to, so I definitely appreciate what you taught me, and I'm definitely going to use it out there all the way down to one little simple thing is sharp knives. That's just, most people don't think that's important, but and you gave that important note that sticks with me right now, and you're the only person that said that in the classes I've been to. So I definitely appreciate all that you taught me and that you taught everybody else and what you're doing for the sport, because just at the back of the wall, you can see that you're a winner and you've proven what you do has results. So there's no questioning it. Even if you just ran your recipe straight, you'll be fine. So it just comes down to people swallowing their pride and just following the process without going astray.
That's like the best advice you can give anybody with the knives is just control what you can control. Like you can't control what table you go to. You can't control what judges get your food. You can't control any of that. You can have sharp knives. You can make sure your boxes are pretty. Make sure your drums are clean. And just control the things you can control. And then once it's out of your control, you hope you get lucky because there's a lot of luck in what we do.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, let them know what the name of your knives and how much they cost, just to show how important they are.
Yeah, I use Wusthof Classics, and they're not crazy. They're all probably $200 a knife, but I probably got $1,500 in knives between like my slicers, my trimming knives.
Yeah, so definitely that's an important aspect of it. They just think it's just cutting, but it saves time than having to rip the meat to shreds with old dull knives.
I've had buddies of mine be like, "Hey, can you show me how you trim pork?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'll pick up their knife and be like, "I'm gonna go get my knives." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I can't trim pork with your knives. Maybe you're better at this than I am. I don't know, but I don't have the ability to do what I do with your knife."
Yeah, so like I said, I definitely appreciate it, and I encourage anybody once they see that you're advertising for a class, definitely go up there and check it out. It's a great atmosphere. It's friendly. Like I tell people, most of these classes I go to, I be the only black guy there, but I can't tell the difference because it's so friendly. The atmosphere is welcoming, and I'm just one of the group. When the barbecue, there's no races, there's no man, female, all this stuff. It's just community, and I just love that. And I'm an ambassador for the barbecue community, and I'll promote it all the time because nothing matches the people I meet in the barbecue community like you and all the rest of them. Tim didn't have to. What did Tim have the game to come on my podcast? Nothing. But he was nice enough to ask me to come on the podcast. I'm sitting here looking at him like he crazy. You ain't gotta ask. You welcome to come on. So I was like,
Tim's awesome.
You didn't waste no time responding to the email. You didn't have to. You're not gaining anything from this, but y'all are nice enough to come, help others, give advice, tell where y'all started to where y'all at now, just to show people that, okay, you don't wake up and be Heavy Smoke and be successful in barbecue and restaurant business. That it takes time to get there, and you just have patience. And I'm just trying to give them a place to go listen to people, different stories, and also their products, sell people products. A lot of these are not in stores, but I want to promote these so they can go look for them and stuff like that, because a lot of stuff in the stores is not the same. Y'all built these specifically for grilling, and the stuff in the store is made mass produced. So I want something for brisket and stuff. I know to go to this, and I'm telling everybody else to go for the black label, the white label, the sweet and savories, and all that. So it's just getting the word out there that y'all exist, and y'all make products specifically for certain items, and they're versatile to go on different stuff. Because my wife, now I got her digging through my rubs and seasonings, trying to layer it on. So, like I said,
people don't realize, man, like Every single team, I always say the first place team used Blues Hog, and so did the last place team. Like everyone's using Blues Hog, right? And so you can go to a contest with a bottle of Blues Hog, a bottle of White Label, a bottle of Black Label. You can win that contest. Just cook it right, finish it. It's easy.
Exactly. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you and taking time to come out on the show this morning. And I wish you the best of luck. And anytime you want to come on, shoot the breeze or anything, I'm gonna definitely try to take the class again. Just now, since I took the class, I can come up there and just shoot the breeze like some of the other people. So I definitely look forward to seeing you out in the trail and then out in just regular life. So I definitely appreciate you.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on, and I'll extend the same offer. Anytime you want to come to a comp and hang out with me and watch what I do at a comp, man, just let me know.
Okay, I definitely take you up on that offer. And on that note, everybody, we'll see you next episode. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the BBQ Therapy Podcast. My name is Tavis Bryant. Please tune in to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and any streaming platform near you. Please pay the secretary on your way out, and we'll see you next episode.
Y'all gon' have barbecue.